Welcome to Deck Analysis and Testing, and today we have a look at Chaos Chimera OTK. Yep, Konami has done it once again. A new Zero monster deck has arrived. Well, technically you can see that we were playing one monster, but I mean we only use it as an equip spell, so I really wouldn't count it. But anyway, how does this deck work? Well, unsurprisingly, everything is explained by their skill, which we will look into later, but the short of it is that you get a whole bunch of free Xyz monsters in both your graveyard and your opponent's graveyard as well. So the strategy is to revive these Xyz monsters with your spells from either graveyard, and then rank them up into bigger Xyz monsters that have actual good effects. You can also choose to not do any of these and instead make a really gigantic C5 Chaos Chimera Dragon at the cost of just not summoning anything else during that turn. A deck that looks as green as this deck should remind you of not only, Sky Striker, but also the Pendulum Rebellion nonsense that people were playing at the beginning of the year with a similar concept in that you play a whole bunch of spells and then the skill gives you the monsters that you require to OTK. But unlike that deck, well, I'm happy to report that this deck is actually good going first. In fact, this turn 1 setup gets you to 2 to 3 monster negates, which is, well, pretty decent, I would say. And even if you fail to OTK with Chaos Chimera, it isn't like the end of the game immediately. It happens to have a second bonus effect that drains your opponent's graveyard resources and also effectively skips their draw phase at the same time. And it's an effect that you can just use over and over again and just outgrind your opponent until you eventually win. So with that said, let's have a look at the deck. Before we look at the actual cards, let's have a look at the skill, because that is what will make this entire deck work. So we need to read the skill to make sense of what we're playing. The skill locks you into only normal or special summoning monsters that are Umbral Horror monsters, which are really, really terrible, or number monsters. So it has two main effects: reveal one glorious numbers, which is the reborn spell, or a rank up magic spell card in your hand, and then add up to 2 rank up magic spell cards from your deck to your hand, and then send a 104 masquerade and 3 rank 5 number C monsters that are higher than C101 from your extra deck to your graveyard that have different names, and then you send the same things that you sent from the skill into your opponent's graveyard as well. So a total of 8 Xyz monsters in both players' graveyards. So 104 and then 3 other rank 5 C monsters in both players' graveyards. And then the second effect allows you to just get a free number monster from your graveyard, and it just places it in face down defense by sending a card from your field to the graveyard. And that is really, really strong, and it can also summon it from your opponent's graveyard as well. It isn't really worded that well, but it works. You can summon, you technically can choose your opponent's graveyard, I'm pretty sure, but usually you don't, it doesn't really matter too much, and you can summon it from your graveyard. But anyway, let's have a look at what we're actually playing in our deck. We're playing one Twin Saber as the ZW target to equip with our Utopia Ray, because it is part of our turn 1 board, and that's a monster negate. It's pretty good. It negates at the point of resolution. So when your opponent activates a monster effect, you don't have to chain it immediately. You just go, okay, that's fine. You click the button that just removes the prompt, and then the chain resolves, and then you click yes on the Twin Saber, and that is when the negate happens. A bit confusing, but it will make sense when you actually play this deck. And that's it. That's all the monsters for the deck. All of the other cards are spells. We have 1 copy of Rank Up Magic Admiration of the Thousands. This is the way that we're going to make a really big C5. So we only play 1 copy because this card does lock you into summoning only the thing that it summons, and you cannot summon absolutely anything else during the turn you use this card. So you can't even use it before you use it. That's if you use this card, that's the only thing you're gonna do for the rest of the turn, basically. But it's pretty good. You can target 1 or more Xyz monsters in each graveyard, all of the same rank. It's gonna be rank 5 because most of the guys in the graveyard are rank 5s. And then you special summon number C or C exceeds monsters that is 1 rank higher, which is rank 6 Chaos Chimera. And then you just attach all of those monsters that you targeted for the cost to that Chaos Chimera. And so normally, with the amount of rank 5s that you get from your skill, it will have 6 materials. So your guy will be at 6,000 attack, and that is really, really big. And also, yeah, that has a lock. Let's also have a look at the other rank up magics before we look at the other spells. Rank up magic Numeron Force is a really, really good spell going second. It ranks up a face up Xyz monster you control to summon a number C monster with the same type, but run 1 rank higher using that monster. And then you negate all face up cards on the field permanently. So you're gonna use that on the Masquerade to make the Umbral Horror Masquerade, which not only gets you a big guy, which it itself has a monster negate, it also just disables all things on the field that your opponent might have. So this is also a main reason why this deck is pretty good going second, not only because of the Chaos Chimera, but also because this card is just really, really good. We have 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch, which is a quick play spell, which I don't think it really matters. All it does is it ranks up a Dark Xyz that has no material to make another Xyz that is 1 rank higher. And we will be using that on a copy of Umbral Horror Masquerade that has no material. Maybe you summoned it off of the Reborn spells, and then you use it to make a copy of number 24. This card is another way you can interrupt your opponent. It is a quick effect, so you can do it in your opponent's turn, but you can also do it in your own turn just to force out disruptions before you commit to your Utopia Ray. Usually the play is that you're gonna revive your C104 with a Reborn spell. It will pop a back row. If your opponent chains something to it, you can chain the quick play and then dodge some targeting interruptions on the 104. And then you can use the number 24 effect to get rid of another monster as well. And also we're playing 3 copies of Rank Up Magic Limited Baron's Force. This card is the main way we're going to make the Utopia Array, and you use it on the Masquerade that you get either from your skill or from a Reborn spell. And it's not once per turn, so if you have multiple, that's completely fine. You can use one on Utopia Array and the other one on a copy of Umbral Horror Masquerade, for example. Next, let's have a look at the non-rank up magic spell cards. We have 3 copies of Autonomous Action Unit, a really, really old card. It's from the first box ever in the game, and that also means that it is available from box chips. So really free to play friendly card. And it allows you to pay 1500 and then target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon that monster to your field in attack position and then equip itself to it. So because your skill also dumps stuff to your opponent's graveyard, you can use this equip spell to grab back any Xyz that you dumped, usually a copy of Masquerade or a Umbral Horror Masquerade, to either rank up or just use it on summon effect to pop back row. And 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, another box chip cards that is just good in general to get rid of back row before you OTK. 2 copies of Glorious Numbers. This is another Reborn spell that also works with your skill. You can reveal this card for your skill. If you control no monsters, you can revive a number Xyz monster and then draw a card. And then you can also banish this card to attach a material to your monster, but you will never use this effect because all of your Xyz monsters pretty much only have good effects when they have a specific named material, which is like the non-chaos version of the monster under it to actually use their good effects. So you pretty much only use the first effect to just get a free guy on the field. We have 2 copies of Metal Foes Fusion because the skill does require you to send a card from your field to the graveyard to reborn your Masquerade, and this is a pretty good target. You can just send this to the graveyard and then return it to the deck and just get a free draw. And finally, we have 3 copies of Eagle Booster. This card is really, really good. It's really good both going first and second. If you're going first, you can end on like 1 big Utopia Ray, or possibly a really big Chimera Dragon could work sometimes. And then if your opponent tries to get rid of it, just activate this card. It is unaffected by anything else, and then hopefully survive till your next turn, and then just OTK. And if you're going second, it protects your OTK plays. You can make a massive Chaos Chimera Dragon, and because you're locked from summoning anything else that turn, you don't have a lot of ways to force out interruptions, so this is a good way to just protect your guy to not get, removed from the field by literally anything. So yeah, let's have a look at the extra deck. One copy of number 24 Dragulus, the Vampiric Dragon. It is our Phantom Knight's rank up magic launch target, which also is a card that gets rid of a monster on the field by flipping it face down. Just forces out interruptions. Chaos Chimera Dragon is our main OTK boss monster. It needs level 6 monsters, but we will never be using that. We're just gonna rank up using the one copy of Ambrosia of the Thousands. This card gains 1,000 attack for each Xyz material it has, usually 6 because the skill gives you 6. If this card attacks at the end of the damage step, you can detach one and attack again in a row, but it can only attack monsters, so you can't, attack directly afterwards, and which is a bit of a shame. If your opponent knows what you're doing, they see you have the skill, they will probably just summon stuff face down. That's like the smart play, but well, not everyone is that smart, so we can probably still get some wins out of it. And also, as I said in the intro, it has a second bonus effect, even if you count OTK, in that during the end of the battle phase, you can pay half your life points, and then target 2 cards in any graveyard, place one of them at the top of the owner's deck, and then the other one goes under it as a material. It's really, really flexible, so you can use it in both players' end of battle phase. So after you attack with this guy, you end your battle phase, and then you can choose like 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. One that you want to get rid of, so you attach that under it as material, and the second one you can put it on top of their deck so that they are forced to draw that card for their next draw phase. So that basically like skips their draw phase and forces them to only draw bad cards. And because you can use that every single battle phase, eventually, even if you can't really OTK, you can just grind out your opponent by denying them the draw phase and slowly getting rid of the stuff in their graveyard. We have a look at the other Chaos number monsters. We have a bunch that are just material for our skill. We will never summon them. C105 is a guy. C102 is also a guy. We never summon them. It's just guys for our skill. C104 is actually something that we will be summoning, so that's why we were playing 2 copies, one to send with our skill, and the second one to rank up into. When this card is special summoned, you can target a spell trap on the field to destroy that target. This is a when you can effect, so it will miss timing. Be very careful with how you revive this card. And if this card has Masquerade as a material, it gains a really, really good monster negate. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a monster effect on the field is activated, you can detach one, negate the activation, send a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, and then halve your opponent's life points. Really, really good at just negating stuff and getting rid of your opponent's hand resources. We also, of course, have our one Masquerade, which is just the only rank 4 that we have, so we will be using it to just rank up into all sorts of good rank 5s. And other than the C104, the other one we could make is Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. This card is really, really good, as you probably know if you played in Star Seraph format, or when this card first came out, people were playing it in Utopia. This card can detach one to equip a ZW monster from your deck or extra deck to this card, and you can equip the Twin Saber for monster negate, or equip the Leo arms for a really, really big attack boost if you want to OTK. And other than that, it also has a monster negate on its own. So if you equip the Twin Saber, that is 2 monster negates on a single rank 5, and that's pretty good. That's your main going first play if you happen to go first. You are going to try to make your Utopia Ray, which is pretty easy, given that your skill just gives you so many free cards. And if you're lucky enough, you can also make a copy of Umbral Horror Masquerade next to it. So that is 3 monster negates if you go first, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, let's have a quick look at the expensive version. We are playing Mobilize Engage because, well, you get to search your Ego Booster, which is a really good card. Not only that, you can also search a copy of Wither Anchor to force out interruptions, or Jamming Waves, which forces out back row. The other stuff in the deck is largely unchanged. We removed Metal Foes Fusion to make space for the engages, and then we played 3 copies of Glorious Numbers, and that's pretty much it for the main deck. The extra deck is also largely the same. We also are playing a copy of Giant Red Hand as a C monster that actually is decent, other than, you know, the 104. So we replaced one of the other C monsters so that we could play this card. If it has a number monster as material, it can negate anything, and also all other face-up cards on the field, it gets negated as well. So yeah, it's like a Masquerade, but except it also negates spell traps. So yeah, you can make either one depending on the situation. With that said, let's have a look at some games. Okay, our first game, we're going first. Let's see what this deck actually does if it happens to go first. We're playing against Tri-Brigade, and we open, well, decent. There is a rank up magic, which is all we need to actually do anything. We do not open a reborn spell, so unfortunately we can only end on 2 monster negates instead of 3. But 2 monster negates is still a lot, and we do have ego boosters to protect our guys, so it's gonna be pretty hard to out our end board. So I'm gonna make a Utopia Ray in the EMZ, very important, otherwise we can't use the ego booster. Our opponent is going to just send a bunch of Tri-Brigades to the graveyard. We're just waiting for the on-field activations to negate. So because they banish for cost, every time they use the effects, us negating their effects is actually really hurting them. So you're gonna try to banish 2, we're gonna negate that, and then they're gonna summon another guy, try to banish for 2, we're gonna negate that as well. So they're gonna force to use the DDR to try to revive the Link 4. We can Cosmic Cyclone that, and well, they're out of resources and they will be scooping. Okay, game 2, we are going second, and our opponent is playing a pretty good deck. They're playing they're playing Revolution de Fleur, and well, as you know, they just do Cold Fusion. We never actually know what they're playing until they normal summon, because well, a lot of decks can theoretically use the skill. Turns out they're playing a version with Alistair the Invoker. Interesting. We have a Metal Foes Fusion, which is perfect to send with our skill. 2 Eagle Boosters is kind of overkill, but pretty good nonetheless. And that means even if we fail to OTK, we still have a second one for protection. And then we have a Reborn spell, which is also nice as well. Our opponent will be making a Ensemble Blue Robin, so our goal is to negate the entire field with the Numeron Force by just using it to rank up. And if we successfully do that, the Ensemble Blue Robin will be negated before they can even use their effect. We will use our skill to just grab a free guy on our field, which they cannot bounce because it's not a special summon. And then, well, I forget that this equip spell has text on it, so me flipping it face up does count as changing its position, so it can pop it. But we do have one last trick up our sleeve, because the skill summon does not count as a normal or special summon, so we are still allowed to use our Immersion of the Thousands and make a really big Chaos Chimera Dragon. And we can use our Ego Booster to make it unaffected, and then just beat over every single one of our opponent's monsters. And that also plays around the Kaliga, because we only attacked with 1 monster and we did not use any monster effects. So we'll pass back to our opponent with 500 life points that they have. They're gonna have a bit of a hard time to out my big guy, especially because I have a Ego Booster in my back row. And also, Fleur decks in general don't have a lot of good follow-up, so they're just gonna make a Macabre and pass turn, which I'm fine with. I'm just gonna set one and try to go to battle. They're gonna try to preemptively use Veiler. We'll Ego Booster to protect. They don't have a spell in hand, so they can't negate with Macabre. And then they'll just scoop before we can even swing for game. Okay, our third and final game, we were playing the expensive version, and we were playing against Gemini. So yeah, Gemini is a really strong deck, especially when they go first. They have a whole bunch of interruptions. They have like all the Infernoble stuff. They have Phoenix Gearfree. They have Ablation, which pops one. But here is another really good thing about this deck is that because of how this deck works, it plays around a lot of interruptions that usually give a lot of decks trouble. So as you can see, our opponent has a monster in the gate, they have like a pop, they have an unknown back row, but our deck plays around it pretty well because the skill just gives us all the monsters that we need. Our opponent will chain Ablation to engage to make a Xian. And let's have a quick look at Xian. While it is on the field, I can only activate one spell trap per turn, but because I activated the engage before he summoned the guy, we still have one more spell activation. And, well, you probably know where this is going. We can't really make the Chimera Dragon because it will just get negated by the Gearfried, and also he has an unknown back row, which I'm quite scared of. So the much better option is to just negate the entire field with the Numerals. So we are going to dump everything. We're gonna send the extra limited force to our graveyard to get a free guy. And well, the Gearfree can't really do anything because I didn't really use any monster effects. We're gonna make a copy of Umbral Horror Masquerade and negate every single card on the field. And now, with the Xian negated, we can activate as many spells as we want to. So we're just gonna use Autonomous Action Unit, pull back a Masquerade from their graveyard, and then rank up to make our own Utopia Ray. And well, we can just equip the Leo Arms, and before we can even do that, our opponent will just decide that enough is enough. So yeah, good game, I guess.